Thank you, Gali, for that absolutely awesome warm-up. And hello, everybody. Fantastic to be with you today. Thank you so much for choosing to spend your time with us. So for my session, I'm also going to use Kahoot. It feels kind of relevant in this setting, right? If I'm going to talk about presentations with Kahoot, I should use Kahoot. So I'm going to save my intros for when I've got the Kahoot in front of you so you guys can all pin in again. So just 1 second while I share my screen. Here is the new, fresh, interactive presentation for you to pin into. So I would be grateful if you could do the same. I'm going to make that a little bit bigger for those of you who like to use the QR code. All right, good. Everyone's very fast on this. Thank you very much. That's fantastic. So yeah, just to provide a bit of context, my session today, I'm going to give you a tiny bit of introduction about Kahoot, first of all, but then dive into the main topic, which is all about how you can deliver more impactful presentations using Kahoot. I'm very excited about this session because I'm going to tell you a little bit about the problem space, which I'm sure you can all relate to, but also I'm going to share not what you can do today with Kahoot, as well as demo it, but also give you a sneak preview into our roadmap and what's coming up in the next 6 months. So I'm very excited about this, and it looks like everybody is on board to this interactive presentation. So I am going to start the presentation, and as ever, you can pin in. It will be at the bottom of the screen if you haven't managed to already. Okay, so off we go. So first of all, a little bit of background on Kahoot, the business. For those of you who are not so familiar with Kahoot, maybe this is your first time you've interacted with Kahoot, let me tell you a little bit briefly about the business. Kahoot is all about powering learning and engagement for all age groups. So we serve customers at work, at school, and at home. And the chances are that many of you in your audience will have kids who've experienced Kahoot. And that's one of the magic and unique things about Kahoot. Of course, the focus for today is Kahoot at work, so I'm going to dive straight on into that. But just before I do, look at a couple of the numbers on these slides here. Just an extraordinary community of teachers that we have, 8 million teachers using Kahoot every year. And we use very widely in schools in the US and all around the world. And at home, people are using Kahoot for social fun as well. So it's an incredible business to be part of. We're all super motivated by the Kahoot mission. So very proud to be here today talking to you about Kahoot at work. So now let's dive into Kahoot at work. So how do people use Kahoot at work? Well, broadly, there are 4 use cases for Kahoot at work. And the first of which I'm going to start with is audience engagement. I'm not going to spend much time talking about this because that is what we're doing right here and right now. It's the live experience, an interactive, engaging experience. So I'll come on to that later. But for those of you who aren't aware, we also meet a number of use cases as well. So corporate learning, also known as e-learning. We have a full set of solutions that allow you to create courses and complete asynchronous learning, all on the Kahoot platform. Communication, particularly for non-desk workers. You're going to hear from one of our customers today in this space, but this is solving a problem where it's fundamentally very hard to reach non-desk workers. Most of them don't even have a corporate email address. So we have an employee app that allows organizations to communicate directly to and back from their frontline workers. And finally, if you're not aware of brand engagement, one of our newer offerings, this allows sales, marketing, and communications professionals to use Kahoot to engage with customers, with prospects and consumers. And we actually have an event coming up in 2 weeks that we'll be telling you about via email. But if any of your colleagues are in marketing, I saw a few of us today are from marketing. We'd love to talk to them about Kahoot for brand engagement. Some of our customers use many of these use cases, and you'll be hearing from Villa Copenhagen, who actually use all of these solutions at the same time. All right, so that's the introduction to Kahoot at work. Now let's dive into the topic today, where I want to talk about presentations and increasing impact with presentations. So first of all, I'm going to test our format of impactful presentations. This is my goal, to make sure that you know why and how to make presentations impactful to Kahoot. So I'm going to ask you before and then ask you again afterwards, what's your current level of understanding? And let's see if through this presentation, I can measurably increase your knowledge. And this is my primary goal today. So thank you for your quick responses. Let's see, I'm going to click show answers, a relatively new feature for a scale. We also have NPS, if you didn't know. So you're able to measure your employees' net promoter score from right within the Kahoot session. Okay, so we have a good understanding, I'd say, is sort of 4 or 5. So we have 22% in 4, and we have 11% in 5. And I'll come back to those at the end, and I'm going to see if we can increase that number through the course of this short interactive presentation. All right, so increasing the impact of presentations. I think the best place to start here is the challenges that face us all as presenters. Here's a picture of a slightly nervous looking presenter. We want to help our customers all become superstar presenters and make sure those presentations that can't really go well. So let's first of all zoom into the problems and then look at how we can address them. So we have just commissioned a completely fresh piece of research that I'm delighted to give you a sneak preview of today. It's over 1,000 respondents based in the US, all of whom give presentations at work on a regular basis. And we asked them, what are your top pain points when delivering a presentation specifically? We'll come onto the creation side a little bit later, but this is around delivering. And what jumps out here is the first is keeping the audience engaged throughout. I think Gally's already touched on this with one of her inspirational quotes, and I'm going to go further into this as well, but 53% reported that's the biggest challenge for me as a presenter. Next, nerves and lack of confidence. That, of course, we can all relate to, and to be honest, that's slightly natural, but I'll talk a little bit in a minute about how we can address that too, and how Kahoot can help with that. And finally, breaking the ice at 44%. We were surprised by this number. This is quite high from our mind, but it's just such great news because all our customers are constantly telling us Kahoot is an absolute dream for breaking the ice. And I think you've had a great demo of exactly that from Gally today. So I don't propose to spend much more time talking about that because I think we've covered that already today. Breaking the ice is Kahoot's superpower. So let's dive into the engagement side of things a little bit more. So let's talk about attention spans. As ever with all stats, there are many sources, but according to a molecular scientist, John Medina, what do you think the average attention span for a normal in-person presentation is in minutes? Giving you a scale here. And let's see, using our slider feature like you've used before. Fantastic audience, you are super quick on the buzzers. I'm very impressed by how quickly the responses are coming in. Thank you very much. All right, so interesting. So a lot of people lowballing down there in the sub 10. This particular view was 10 minutes. Now, I've seen many different sources, some of which are as low as 1 minute. So I can totally understand why the spread of views is below 10 minutes. But actually, do you know what? It doesn't really matter. The key point is that the average attention span is shorter than the average length of a presentation. And so we need to think about what we're going to do about that, because otherwise we're going to lose our audience's attention if we simply talk at them. All right, let's check the leaderboard. Swaz was quickest on 10, so well done to Swaz, and let's keep moving. So let's say 10 minutes, maybe less for the average presentation, but we all know a virtual audience, the stakes are even higher. Now, there are many sources here. You can read all of the sources below, but the magic number I want to leave you behind with here is 40%, 4 out of 10. Basically, what all the numbers that we see are telling us is that if you are presenting virtually, just like I am today, you should plan on the basis that 40% of your audience are doing something else, to be honest. There is so much multitasking going on. Now, Gally showed a very big number. It's true for virtual meetings. I actually decided to put in a conservative number to align this with 40% because I've seen a range. I've seen 40%, 90%. It could be higher than 40, but it's at least 40% of multitasking. When the camera's off, we ran some research. It's incredible what people are doing. They're doing the laundry, they're taking exercise, they're playing with their pet. They really are not listening. It's amazing how much attention is lost in virtual meetings. Coupled with that, you get people who feel excluded in hybrid meetings if there are people who are in person having the meeting as well. And Gen Z ranked much highest on our survey in terms of disengagement in virtual meetings. So the engagement problem is even more acute with a virtual audience. So what's the solution? Well, you've got to mix it up. That is our fundamental philosophy in Kahoot with presentations, and it's what our customers tell us, and you'll hear from them later today about how they're doing this in the real world. Yes, you need slides, like I have slides here. That's the inform part. We believe those should be visual, high impact. You should use rich media as much as possible and not too many words. But you need to mix those up with the assessment part. That's the quiz, the tried and tested, and the other features like we've demoed already, like slider or type answer. I'll be demoing more of those in this presentation, because what that does is it reinforces your key points. It's very, very impactful, and it generates the engagement around the leaderboard and the competition at the same time. And then we have a great set of questions that allow you to facilitate discussion where there isn't a right answer. You want your audience's input. You want their involvement. So use word clouds, brainstorms, drop pins like Gali demoed earlier. Really mix it up in this way. And that is how you keep your audience involved and you keep their attention. So it's not just me saying this. Let's hear from a few of our customers. This is not necessarily our newest customer quote, but it remains one of my favorite. This is Chrissy from Berkshire Hathaway over in the States, telling us that risk management, which we all know is not the most fun subject to instruct on, they managed to get a standing ovation by using Kahoot when delivering training on risk management through our interactive presentation format. Now, that's pretty exceptional. So next, this quote from Benjamin Franklin, you may have heard before. I personally and we at the team at Kahoot find this quite inspiring. Do you know this quote? Tell me and I forget. Teach me and I remember. Involve me and I what? Because ultimately, as I've said before, mixing it up is with interactivity. It's all about involving. So one of the all-time greats in our history, Benjamin Franklin, believed that once you involve someone in a topic, there's a very important outcome that's very dear to our heart at Kahoot. Let's see. Learn. Learn is exactly it. Well done to 133 of you. That is our hardest question when you don't choose from answers. But yes, that's exactly it. That's the point. And we believe that when you learn, you need to be engaged to learn. And when you learn something, it's then about taking that learning and applying it into practice. You'll hear more about that later. So it doesn't stop with learning. An impactful presentation changes behavior, but the engagement is crucial to getting the attention, to getting the understanding, and then driving the behavioral change. All right, has it changed the leaderboard? Yes, it has. Lynn shoots up to the top spot. Well done, Lynn. Let's keep going. All right, I'm going to shift gears now from engagement. The second one was about nerves and confidence. I want to run the same poll on you that we ran in our survey in the US, and I'll tell you how you compare as a group to our survey respondents. But ultimately, this is about, how confident do you feel up there? When you all give presentations, I suspect, or you want to, that's why you're here today. How confident do you feel right now? Rockstar level, ready to give a TED talk, or a sinking ship at the other end of the spectrum? A wave of hopelessness overwhelms me. All right, 12% of you feel like rock stars. Well done, you. Wish I was one of you. That's fantastic. Smooth operator 36, work in progress 43. Okay, that's great. Those numbers are very similar to our survey. So our survey said, and I'm just checking my notes, the exact numbers were 9% for the rock star, so 12, 42%, so it's pretty similar on smooth operator. But the big takeaway is around about half of us delivering presentations or wanting to deliver presentations need help. There is a confidence thing. So what is Kahoot's solution to this? Well, as I mentioned before, there's no silver bullet on this. We're not going to claim that Kahoot suddenly takes away all nerves and solves all confidence problems, nor should it. Nerves are actually a very positive thing for a great performance on a stage. But what we hear from our customers is that using Kahoot is very supportive, and you can choose how supportive you want to make it. Some of our presenters talk about the fact they use the music to actually fill in. So they don't actually say that very much as a presenter. They use the music, they use the leaderboard to make light talk. But essentially what Kahoot does is it, from the very beginning with the icebreaker, it warms up the whole room. It gives you something a little bit lighthearted to talk about. It takes the focus off you as the presenter and puts it onto the audience, which is the absolute key to giving great presentations, in my view. And in that way, by getting real-time feedback from your audience as well, it increases your confidence. So we think Kahoot is a great match, and our customers tell us the same, for presenters who are maybe learning the trade a little bit. And it is genuinely unique in giving you feedback, because our survey also said that nearly everyone thinks that feedback for presentations is super important, but over half of people say that they don't often get feedback on their presentations. So there, we've covered the problem space. I now want to switch gears and talk about how you can actually use Kahoot. So that's the why, the problems that we're solving by using Kahoot as a presentation tool. Now, how do you actually do it? And this first part is very brief, and it's on the here and now. Using Kahoot and the features that exist today, how do you do that? So I'm going to demonstrate this very simple. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4 step process, super simple, using our puzzle feature, which is great for processes if you haven't come across it before. So I'd now ask you to put these steps in the right order, with the first one at the top and then finishing at the bottom, for how you think, if you don't know already, you would make your existing presentation slides more impactful using Kahoot. Now, we call a presentation that's been Kahootified or had engagement and interactivity added to it, wow presentations. So excuse the meme, but we think this is what it's all about. And this is ultimately what presenters and, crucially, audiences want. It's so easy when giving presentations to focus on yourself and your own nerves, and am I delivering it? The great thing about Kahoot is it gives you that constant connection with your audience, and it gives them a wow experience that they really enjoy at the same time as well. All right, there's a couple of things still coming in. I'm going to just move that one on now. Right, so let me talk through this a little bit. This is the only slide I've got on this. There's plenty of support articles on this. If you want to literally get started straight after this, please go ahead. Just literally Google import slides Kahoot, and you'll find straight away the help article on exactly how to do it. But the key thing is, we know you all have slides, right? We spend our times in presentation software. So our suggestion is, first of all, import your slides. Now, part of that process of importing will force you to prioritize which slides to import, which means you're actually thinking about what are your key messages, maybe your top 3 messages, and the slides that support those key messages. Next, it makes sense to add assessment questions that reflect those key messages that you just thought about. As I said earlier, what they do is that they reinforce your key takeaways and give you real-time feedback on whether the key points you're trying to make are actually landing. So I'd suggest you do that one second. Then thirdly, of course, you add your icebreaker at the beginning. We've seen how important that is earlier, in whatever form you like. And of course, you can add throughout the presentation discussion questions to give your audience a voice and find out what they think about it too. But that is the simple 4-step process, and all of that functionality is available on the Kahoot platform today. So Peyton zooms up to the second spot. Great job, Peyton. Finally, on what you need to do to get started today is you will need a Kahoot subscription. We have a range of plans right now that are great for interactive presentations. All 3 of these are appropriate. If you want to get started, 360 Presenter has all of the features you need to import your slides and do what I've just described. If you want to have a little bit more larger audiences, so Presenter is up to 50 participants, Pro gives you up to 2,000 participants, which is a huge event, much bigger even than this event. Then 360 Pro is a great match, and it's got some great AI tools that can help you make your presentations faster. And then if you've got a whole team of presenters, or you want to equip your whole team or organization, then we have Kahoot 360 Spirit that allows you to customize the look and feel, very much like I'm demoing here, to your own corporate branding. So there we go. That is it for how to make interactive presentations today. Now, here comes the roadmap, the sneak preview into the roadmap and what's coming up next. So what we've been working on with our product team is this simple question based on customer feedback. How can we make it even easier for absolutely anyone to become a superstar presenter on any topic? And so these are some concepts that are in development right now and that will be going live by the summer of this year. And everything that you see here will be available in Kahoot 360 Pro and upwards. So when you come and click Create on the Kahoot platform, you'll encounter a screen like this. What's your presentation about? And you can start with a topic. If, for example, you want to, this is a generic topic, but for a work audience, it could be something like a soft skill where there's a lot of publicly available information. It might be around communication skills. You can type a topic and you can use AI to generate not just Kahoot quiz questions, slides with the content that are beautifully visual and a mixture of interactivity in the way that I've described. More likely, though, is that you'll have some internal proprietary information that you've actually created your own private content. So you'll want to import some slides. So this is an option too. So let's run with this scenario right now. The first thing you'll see is an opportunity to import your slides from either PowerPoint or Google Slides. I'm going to start with this example of Google Slides. You'll sign in with your Google account as normal. And straight away, you'll see your presentations in Google Drive in this example, and you'll be able to select the presentation that you want. Once you've done that, you'll be able to select the slides which you want to add. Remember what I said before, that you'll want to think about your key points, so you may not want to add them all. So you select your slides, and here's where the AI magic starts to come in. You can toggle on the option underneath the slides there to say, hey, Kahoot, I want you to propose interactivity to turn these slides into a wow presentation. And if you check this, then we'll do exactly that and add assessment questions and discussion questions to complement your content. And this is the really cool thing based on customer feedback that's brand new as well. You can import slides today, but you will be able to actually sync your slides, which means that if you or your team change your slides in Google or in PowerPoint, when you click the update button in Kahoot, you will synchronize those changes with Kahoot and import changes just in a click of a button from your slides, or updates from your slides into your interactive presentation. We think, based on customer feedback, that this is a big game changer and a massive time saver. We hope you agree. Next, we'll ask you if you want to theme your presentation. There are a range of theming options for our plans, but it's super important to match the style of your interactivity with the slides that you've imported. So you'll apply the theming to your presentation as well. Then when you hit present, which may be sometime later and you have your audience, we're going to change the experience. And you actually saw me slightly wrestling with this at the beginning. What we all want to do with a presentation is start with the content. So you'll be able to start your slides immediately and put up your introduction slide whilst having in parallel your audience pinning in with the QR code and the pin number. So it's a much more dynamic experience that allows you to lead with the content and the slides and have your audience jump in and out of the interactivity whenever they like throughout the presentation. So a new form of experience when you're presenting. Furthermore, the podium doesn't have to be the end. So if, for example, you want to have a bunch of, let's do a review section, and then you have a podium and you celebrate the winner, then you can pop in a quick survey about the whole experience afterwards before wrapping up with a thank you slide. It doesn't have to end with a podium anymore. So that is what's coming by the end of Q2. Now, the product team would absolutely love to hear your feedback on what I've just presented to you, because as I said, we're currently in development for this. Anything you like about this in particular, anything you don't like, or anything you think that is missing, we would love to hear your comments right now. Thank you for all that feedback. I'm sorry time is a little bit short, but we are a little bit over time. 78, 90, this is great. I'm going to let the feedback keep coming in. Fantastic. Of course, there isn't time right now to show all of these answers, so I'm just going to skip those, and I'm going to wrap up now with my key takeaways, which is the other best practice of an interactive presentation. So just remember which subscription you use. For the future things in the roadmap, the golden ticket we'll be talking about applies to 360 Pro, and that is the plan where the AI generation features will be available. The slide syncing will be available in 360 Presenter, but the 360 Pro and Spirit are the ones that will have the AI magic as part of them. And a couple of final double points questions to really see if my key points have been landed. Why should you make your presentation interactive with Kahoot? This was the first part of my presentation, and I'm getting real-time feedback right now on my communication abilities. Not all of these will necessarily be right, but more than one may well be right. Great. Good. So all presentations shouldn't necessarily be fun. I don't think that's not a rule that they have to be fun, but it's something that we like to inject that to it as well. It's not mandatory, in my view, that they have to be fun. We've got a new leaderboard. That's great. One more question, and I'm going to just speed up the timer. So you're going to have to be very quick fire on this one. The new features on the roadmap you've heard about today. What are they going to do for you as an end user? 20 seconds you have on this one. Thank you. Great. Now, the one thing you will have to do is you won't have time to keep all your slides in because you need to make room for the interactivity. So that's why the blue one is not correct, but the other ones are all correct. Finally, let's test the effectiveness and the impact of this presentation. This is the after question, the same question. I know why and how to use Kahoot to make my presentations more impactful. Be as open and candid as you can, and we can see if I've managed to make the 22% on a 4 and the 11% on a 5 go up. All right, thank you for your answers. Let's see, I'm so intrigued by the results here. Show answers. There we go. I'm sitting on the edge of my seat myself on my feedback. Great. Okay, so we've gone from 22 to 44 on the 4. And we've doubled the 5s from 11 to 25, but James still has more work to do. Thank you very much. This is the final leaderboard. And once we've been through that, I'm going to hand straight back to Gally because we're a little bit over time. So congrats to Jody in third, to Jack in second. And the winner of this interactive presentation was JCT. Well done, JCT. And thank you, everyone. Over to you, Gally.